Brigadier Dhaya from IDSA, distinguished guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I feel very privileged to be here this morning with you at this inaugural of the academic session of the 7th edition of the Delhi Dialogue. We had a good start to this year's event yesterday with the first ever fully fledged business session in the morning, attended by industry captains and key business delegates from the ASEAN and India. The business session was followed by a candid sharing of views during the formal inaugural session, which was hosted by the External Affairs Minister and attended by ministers and heads of delegations of ASEAN countries as well as some chief ministers and ministers from our northeastern states. Today's academic session brings together policymakers, think tanks, business leaders, and academics to brainstorm on various aspects of the ASEAN India strategic partnership under the umbrella of the Delhi Dialogue process. Some of the key issues on the agenda are those that are likely to dominate the future discourse in India ASEAN cooperation, such as maritime security, cyber security, skills development, knowledge society and economy, cultural linkages, integration of regional production networks and value chains, infrastructure and energy, and the way forward for ASEAN India relations. Since 2009, the Delhi Dialogue has emerged as a useful Track 1.5 platform for discussions between government representatives, Track 2 experts, and business representatives on political, economic, and security issues of interest to both India and ASEAN. Delhi Dialogue 7 assumes far greater significance since it comes in the landmark year for ASEAN, for the region as it moves towards ASEAN Economic Community to create a free market for goods, services, investment, capital, and skilled labor. India has been an active participant in the region, with which it shares civilizational linkages, a common history, and will continue to carve out a role for itself with ASEAN in the post-2015 agenda. The India-ASEAN relationship has grown and is a strategic partnership since 2012. Today, relations with the ASEAN are one of the cornerstones of India's foreign policy and the foundation of our Act East policy. Our ministers and officials meet regularly to expand our collaborative agenda, while our leaders meet every year to provide leadership and vision to this relationship. There has been a deepening of cooperation across the three pillars of our relationship: political security, economic, and socio-cultural, in the last 23 years. In recent times, as political, economic, and security structures evolve, Asia is assuming new responsibilities commensurate with its capacities. In this scenario, ASEAN and India are and will remain natural partners in defining the perspectives and addressing the common requirements of economic growth and prosperity. We are together in the East Asia Summit, the ASEAN Regional Forum, ADMM Plus, and the expanded ASEAN Maritime Forum, which are important initiatives for evolving an open and inclusive regional architecture. We continue to support ASEAN's central role in this regional architecture. The unprecedented changes in global dynamics underline the necessity of a stable and a peaceful regional environment, ASEAN's centrality in the evolving regional architecture, and enhanced India-ASEAN cooperation for maritime security, freedom of navigation, and the peaceful settlement of disputes in accordance with international law. Our collaboration should deepen in the realm of maritime security, humanitarian and disaster relief, anti-piracy, and counter-terrorism. Similarly, the importance of cybersecurity and need for cooperation in this vital domain cannot be overstated. Cyberspace is now acknowledged as the fifth domain of human activity after land, sea, air, and outer space. While ASEAN and India have taken steps to firm up their cybersecurity regimes, they are yet to establish a strong relationship in this domain. We have made a good beginning, though, by organizing the ASEAN India Cybersecurity Conference on 19 January 2015 at New Delhi, which brought together experts from ASEAN and India to exchange views on the current state of technical knowledge in cybersecurity and the measures required to build further capacity in this domain. This event was successful in identifying the opportunities for greater collaboration on cyber related challenges and also recommending necessary policy measures to strengthen this cooperation. ASEAN centrality is the driving force of the emerging economic and security structures of the region. The cross cultural exchanges are linked inextricably with the economic and security pillars of the ASEAN community. India and ASEAN countries share, as I said, a long history and civilizational linkages, long before the governments decided to embark upon a partnership in 1992. The connections between India and Southeast Asia are deeply rooted, and they have evolved together through exchanges of people, ideas, and goods over the millennia. It has been a two-way civilizational connect with a history of trade, commerce, and educational exchanges. In modern times, we have not only been able to rediscover it but also advance it to diverse areas for mutual benefit of people of India and of the ASEAN region. India's socio-cultural links remain in Asia, ranging from Angkor Wat to Garuda and Ganesha, from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata to the roots of Southeast Asian languages in Sanskrit and Pali, from the dance forms of Bharatanatyam and Kathak to the traditional systems of yoga and Ayurveda. The highlights of our socio-cultural engagement in recent years include the memorable shipping expedition of INS Sudarshini to 9 ASEAN countries and the ASEAN India Car Rally in 2012 to mark the 20th anniversary year of ASEAN India relations. The revival of Nalanda University and East Asia Summit Initiative is a multinational project in partnership with many countries of the region. Coming to the realm of knowledge society and skills development, I'd like to emphasize that India has always been willing to share its developmental experience with our friends. India contributes to narrowing the developmental gaps in ASEAN by supporting capacity building programs in the CLMV countries, namely the creation of entrepreneurship development centers and centers for English language training in Cambodia, Lao PDR, Myanmar, and Vietnam. The ASEAN India Fund, the ASEAN India Green Fund, and ASEAN India Science and Technology Development Fund have been established to finance our expanding collaborative agenda. We should continue our cooperation and share best practices in advanced collaboration in telemedicine and healthcare access, clean technologies and biotechnology, urban planning, including water and air management, agriculture and food security, research and development and science and technology, remote sensing and space cooperation, governance and anti-corruption mechanisms for efficient delivery of citizen services. We regularly organize exchange programs and visits of media persons, students, farmers, diplomats, and experts. There is no room for complacency, and a lot needs to be done to meet the rising expectations of our people. Visa facilitation and medical tourism will enhance people to people linkages. We are planning to extend the visa on arrival scheme from the present figure of 43, which includes 8 ASEAN countries, to 150 countries in a phased manner. The seamless movement of people, knowledge, ideas, goods, services, and spiritual traditions will enhance prospects for greater cooperation in a globalized world. On the economic front, the economic underpinnings of the ASEAN-India Strategic Partnership have been strengthened by the signing of the India-ASEAN Free Trade Agreement in services and investments, which will come into force later this year. The services and investment agreements complete the ASEAN India FTA and are expected to bolster our economic partnership. The volume of trade and investment flows between ASEAN and India have been increasing at a healthy pace, but remains comparatively low compared with the other dialogue partners of ASEAN. The trade between ASEAN and India has grown 20 times in the last 20 years. Now it's around US dollars 74 to 75 billion in 2013-14. The target is to achieve trade to 100 billion by 2015, and our ambition is to scale up to $200 billion by 2022. The negotiations for arriving on a common ground on the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP is commonly known, is also underway. The formation of the ASEAN Economic Community by end of this year, would be a major milestone. With a population of 620 million, comprising the world's seventh largest economy, the ASEAN Economic Community is being perceived as an economic powerhouse. It will generate tremendous growth potential for new opportunities for promoting bilateral trade and building business partnership, particularly in the small and medium enterprises sector. Given the diversity in the economic activity among the member states, the region stands to benefit from the financial savviness and capital of developed economies and the competitive costs and abundant labor and resources of the less developed member countries. The success of the regional integration will be determined by the efforts made to realize the full trade and investment potential. Enhancing regional connectivity lies at the core of the regional integration. Connectivity with ASEAN geographical, institutional, and people-to-people connect is a strategic priority for India. We are working with ASEAN in enhancing physical and institutional connectivity. In particular, the India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway, the Kaladan Multimodal Transport Corridor, and the Mekong India Economic Corridor should reduce travel time and open up numerous cross-border possibilities for trade and investment. Industrial clusters located along the connectivity corridors will emerge as economic nodes with many possibilities. Development and integration of different sub-regional and multimodal transport corridors is very important to promote seamless connectivity. Besides the physical infrastructure issues, there is a need to address soft connectivity issues as well, including cross-border transit facilitation measures, customs clearance, and other facilitative policies and regulations to encourage production networks and economic integration in the region. So as we push towards our connectivity agenda, we must work to enhance our maritime connectivity. We have taken a few small steps in this direction by beginning discussions on the ASEAN-India Maritime Cooperation Agreement this year. The freighter service started by the Shipping Corporation of India from Chennai to Yangon has also met with commercial success and could pave the way for more such ventures in the future. We are also making efforts to enhance air connectivity to and from ASEAN countries. At the second ACCC India meeting in September 2014, we decided to establish a working group on civil aviation matters to take this forward. Economic integration hinges on reduction of tariff and non-tariff barriers, and easing of investment regimes, as well as the free flow of goods, services, investment, and skilled labor. As we look to the future, we must empower our youth across the spectrum of higher education, practical skills, and vocational training, capacity building, and distance learning oriented towards trade and technological advancement. Mutual recognition of professional qualifications will promote movement of professionals and experts across the geographic borders. The projected increase in people-to-people movement and goods and services trade in the region over the next few decades underscore the need to build critical infrastructure. The opportunities for investments in infrastructure, including urban planning, are huge in the region. Building critical infrastructure, including sustainable urban communities, and investments in human capital development will enhance and facilitate our global competitiveness in a wide range of industries. In this digital age, we also need to think of virtual networks as a way forward for connecting the region. There is vast potential for economic opportunity and job creation through information highways. The Asia Pacific region faces an acute demand for energy. It is essential to think ambitiously of what we can do with renewable energy and energy efficiency. Information sharing, capacity building, technical cooperation, knowledge management, and human resource development are the first few steps to boost institutional and private sector cooperation in this area. In the end, I would like to reiterate that India and ASEAN share a vision of a peaceful, prosperous, and resurgent Asia, which contributes to global peace and security. And I'm very confident that today's deliberations will come up with recommendations on transforming the vision of our leaders into reality, thus furthering the ASEAN India strategic partnership to the next high level and realizing our joint vision. I would like to compliment all the partners and the associates for Delhi Dialogue 7 for making this possible. And I wish you success in your deliberations, and we look forward to receiving your recommendations. Thank you very much.